Okay, Happy New Year's. It's 2025. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to show you how to scale your business to 50K per month in exactly 49 minutes through this free training. Now, just so you have a clear idea of what we're going to be covering today, we're going to be covering how to craft your offer, setting up the acquisition systems to book in appointments, qualified appointments with qualified leads for your business, building out a clear sales process that's only value driven, that prevents any objections on your sales calls. It takes down your sales calls to 15 to 30 minutes max, and it builds trust with your prospects. And then finally, it's going to teach you how to work on the business, not in it, because the one thing that will allow you to scale once you've covered all of these three next things is how do we now get you out of the business and stop you from being the bottleneck and the centerpiece of it so that you can scale freely while working on what really matters and focusing on what you love doing, okay? Now, hope you find this training valuable. My name is Leo. I'm the founder of Closer, a sales and marketing consulting firm. Let's jump right into it. Okay, by the way, I forgot to mention two things. One, if you want the physical version of this training, it's in the link of the video description below. If you just scroll down, you'll see it. It's called the free training. You can have all the access to it. That's fine. Second thing is, if you struggle with this stuff and you want more guidance and help with it, and you want to scale your business and actually get all of this set up, if it's too overwhelming, just book a call with me using the other link in the description. It's going to say book a call with me and my team. I'll see you guys in the training. Okay, so how do we craft a compelling offer that consistently gets us new leads and new clients, and it automatically pre-sells them just because it's that good, okay? And if you create a compelling offer, you can dominate your market. So I've broken it down into 7 separate steps for us to follow. So let's jump right into it. Now, the first aspect of creating a good offer is understanding your ICP, right? And this isn't anything about niche yet, because niche is a little bit more separate to this, although it does contribute to creating an ICP. You want to focus on the demographic of your ideal buyer. Who is that person? What is the age range? What is their gender? What is their buyer psychology? Are they a data-driven person? Are they an emotional person that kind of wears their heart on their shoulders, right? This is really understanding the psychology behind your ideal client profile, understanding the people that you work with the best. This can mean taking a look at your previous client results and understanding, okay, this person I didn't work too well with, and this person, they got the best results from this partnership offer, this program, this course, whatever you are selling, okay? So really take a look at your demographic in terms of age, gender, previous jobs, interests, psychology behind how they buy, right? And then make a decision behind what that ICP looks like. And that basically allows you to craft your ICP. And don't be afraid to use ChatGPT for this, right? I know ChatGPT isn't as authentic, and we want to make sure that we craft this on our own. But ChatGPT can, definitely give you some good pointers and guidance as to, okay, this tends to be a pattern across your ideal client profile, or this, demographic of people that you're targeting. Make sure to go off of these things, right? So it can give you a good outline and give you some guidance around the people that you want to target, or the people that you think are your ICP. And it might even give you a few nudges where, it might completely rewrite it for you. You might have a completely new idea of what your ICP is just from ChatGPT giving you a few pain points around that person, the psychology behind them, and so on. So once you figured out your ICP, the next point is pricing. Now, pricing just comes down to a fair value exchange, right? Because if you do not have a fair value exchange for your business, for your clients, then you need to change that. Because why would I pay for a program that's $2,000 if I'm only going to get $2,050 back, right? I could have done that completely on my own. So you want to make sure that the value exchange is there. Make sure that a prospect is getting at least a 1.5x return on their initial investment, right? So if they invest 9K, make sure they get 9.5 or maybe 9.8K back, right? That's the minimum. Ideally, you want to aim for something like double, triple, quadruple the investment and what they put in. But sometimes it's not even a monetary value that is a fair value exchange. Sometimes it could be learning a skill set. Sometimes it could be building up an entire business for them. Sometimes it could be, setting them up in a different tax bracket in a different country so they pay less and they can increase their margins, right? It just depends on the value exchange. But a good rule of thumb to go off of is let's say you take a look at your average client results, right? Take a look at what the average return within your business across all of those ideal clients is. Take a look at how long it takes to achieve those results. And then from there, let's say your average client investment is $9K and they get a return of $40K. That's a really good value exchange because now they're getting nearly 3x or 4x the return on what they put into this program, this partnership offer, this course, whatever it is that you are selling. So just make sure that most of the time, if you take a look at client return, let's say a client gets $80,000 to $100,000, you want to make sure that you're usually charging anywhere from 10 to 30% of that, right? So make sure that you're charging 10 to 30% of whatever the return is from your program and your service, okay? Now, after pricing, what do we focus on? Pain points. So this goes into the psychology of the buyer a little bit more, and ChatGPT can again be super useful for this to give you a little bit more clarity, guidance to go off of. Because let's say this, if you have a really good offer and it's at a really good price point, the value exchange is fair, but it doesn't solve the problem to the person on the sales call for you. Like, I cannot tell you the amount of times in the beginning of my career of owning my own businesses where I took sales calls and I sold something. It was super valuable, but it didn't solve the client's problem. And then at the end of the call, they literally told me like, hey, this all sounds really good, but this isn't what I'm looking for. So this isn't a good fit. And then that became like, it just wasted the entirety of the 60 minutes that I had spent talking to them because I was selling something that didn't align with them. So you want to make sure that you align your service and your offer and the core pain point that you're solving with this program with your ICP's pain points. Because if their problem is booking appointments, you want to make sure that you get them more appointments at the end of the day. You want to make sure that you get them more clients. If someone's problem is, I want to automate the entirety of my business, onboarding, sales, marketing, front end and back end, right? You want to make sure that you're not selling them appointments, you're selling them automated systems that allow them to grow and scale, right? So align yourself and your service with your ideal client profile's pain points. After pain points, you want to go into the niche. Now, again, this goes hand in hand with the ICP, but one reality for a lot of business owners is when they have an amazing service, the value exchange is fair, the pricing is dialed, the pain points are aligned with the ICP, right? That's all good. But sometimes your ideal client profile within a certain niche that you're targeting might not have the budget for your program or service, right? Because if you're charging $9K and the average budget within your niche is like $3,000, that's a clear misalignment. So that is usually a call to action that, oh shit, okay, I need to change niches because it's not my problem. It's not the problem with my service. My service is great. It's the niche's problem because they don't have the budget or the investment capital to join my program, go with me, right? So you want to make sure that the budget is there and you have a niche that genuinely has the pain points and everything that you're trying to align with, but at the same time, they have the money to invest into your program, right? Because why take a sales call with someone that only has $50 to invest, right? Or doesn't have any money at all, or they might even need to go into debt to invest in your program, right? You don't want to do that, right? After you have determined a niche that you can provide the best results for and they have the budget to invest into your service or program, what kind of social proof do you have? What kind of client testimonials and results have you gotten for previous people that have joined your program? Because if you can leverage these correctly and if you can message and if you can basically align these social proof and these testimonials with your ideal client profile every single time that you speak on the sales call or even in the pre-sale process before you speak with them, you're going to see at least a 25x or above increase in conversions because social proof is what builds your authority. It's what builds trust. And trust is the foundation of client acquisition because if you don't have trust with your prospects and if they don't believe in your service or product or whatever you sell, they're not going to buy it. And there's nothing that you can do at that point because once they don't believe in it, once they don't trust it, it's going to take a lot to earn that trust back. And it takes a lot of time. And if you don't have the right social proof that aligns with them, it's ultimately useless, right? Because you want to make sure that as soon as someone considers your program, considers your service, you're putting the right testimonials and the right case studies in front of their eyes. Because why share, for example, if you had an amazing result with a roofing client and then you approach a med spa, that testimonial is not going to align with the med spa and you're not going to close them. They're not going to build the level of trust. Yes, it's great that you got a good result for another business, but that's not the business that they run. So make sure that you have aligned social proof and case studies with the niche and audience that you're trying to target. Okay, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. I hope that answered that. Now, after social proof, the messaging is going to be super important. The messaging is a little bit different than the offer. Once you have your offer, it's just identifying the core thing that you are solving for. And this really goes hand in hand with the pain points. Now, as an example, something that a lot of people tend to do, and this is really, really effective, so I'd recommend you optimize your profile based on this. If you take a look at a lot of profiles that we have today, take an online coach, right? They say, I help men in their 40s lose 20 kg in 6 weeks. That is a super aligned and clear message for their ICP, because now they take a look at 40-year-old men who are looking to lose 20 kg in 6 weeks. And that's it. That's dialed messaging. So the main thing they want to focus on is that you are solving the core issue, which is losing weight. It could be booking appointments. It could be increasing your margin, right? Make it super specific and very clear for your audience when they read your profiles, when they read the messaging around your service and around your offer, that it aligns with them, because it's all about alignment at the end of the day. And that's what messaging does for you. Because if you are saying, I help people achieve confidence in 20 weeks, right? And your audience isn't looking to achieve or improve their confidence, then that's a clear misalignment. And that's not going to get you those ideal client profiles or ideal prospects that will pay in full on the sales calls, right? You want to make sure that it aligns. Take a look at their core problem, right? If their core problem is not feeling confident, then using the word confidence within your offer is important. If their core problem is imposter syndrome, then you want to make sure that you solve imposter syndrome, or you make that very clear that you solve that problem within your messaging and your offer, right? And one of the final things is a guarantee. Now, this I'm 50-50 about. If you've reached the point in your business where you're already getting a lot of sales, you're already scaling past 30K a month, I'd say it's that mark, right? You don't really need a guarantee, right? Sometimes you will, sometimes you won't. But the overall message here is guarantees can be super useful as a risk reversal, because you'd be surprised. Let's say you're on a sales call and a client says, I need to think about it, or I don't really believe in this, or how do I know if this is going to work, right? A guarantee phrased the right way and aligned with them can solve that fear immediately, right? As soon as a client says, oh, well, how will I know this works, right? That's where you can say, well, if it doesn't, we will work completely for free until it does, and we'll continue paying the costs of the service and the softwares until you get that return, and maybe even double the return that you even invested in the beginning, right? So it's about aligning the guarantee with what their concerns are, with what their fears are. And again, you can go do this through ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT, what is the average fear, or what are the usual fears that someone in XYZ industry has around consulting services or marketing services or sales consulting services or fulfillment services, right? And then once you've identified what the fears are, create a guarantee that literally addresses that fear, and it's very clear and aligned, right? So if someone has a fear around losing weight within 8 weeks, right? Then my guarantee would be, well, if you don't lose weight within 8 weeks, you get your money back, right? Now, this brings me to my next point about guarantees. You want to make sure that you're not giving guarantees where you don't screw yourself over, if you choose to have one, right? And this doesn't, obviously it's important that you know what you're doing, you can deliver results, because if you can't deliver results, don't have a guarantee. You shouldn't even be charging anything for it. If you do decide to charge for it, charge something low ticket, because you don't have the results, you don't have the confidence, or you don't have the systems or the ability to get them that ideal results or the desired outcome, right? But if you know you can deliver that outcome, but you still say I want to, like, you still have a money back guarantee for someone, that could shoot you in the foot in the future, because now if that client wasn't a high quality client, if that client didn't do anything to get there, a money back guarantee can be pretty difficult in those circumstances. And that's, again, where you can have like client qualifications for a certain guarantee, yes, but you want to make sure that the guarantee is something around maybe working for free until you do and covering certain costs until they get desired result. Or if it's, if you don't achieve this outcome within XYZ amount of time, you don't pay. But in that instance, you want to make sure that you can deliver the result, right? So overall, these 7 key pillars of creating a good offer are the most important ones that you should focus on when it comes to crafting one, and a compelling one for your own business that aligns with your ICP, their niche, their pain points, everything about them. And let me give you some insight. This is what worked for Orion. This is what worked for Eric. This is what worked for Bill. This is what worked for Bo, right? Orion cash collected over $230,000 with us in less than 9 months just by aligning his offer and having a dialed-in ICP. Like, he literally had an entire spreadsheet going through the interests and the buyer psychology behind the specific ICP that he's targeting. And that gave him such clarity, such focus, that it was super easy to take these sales calls because he already knew exactly what these clients and what these prospects were experiencing in terms of pain points and fears and problems. And that's where he can come in. He has the authority, and he has a clear solution that aligns with his ICP. Otherwise, outside of that, Eric, right? Completely new coaching offer, and this would probably be the best demonstration of having an amazing and aligned offer that aligns with the ICP and everything about them, right? Completely new coaching offer that launched within 30 days, and they did $26,000 in revenue and around $15,000 in cash collected. And I think this wasn't the full amount of bookings, but I think they booked in around 103 or 108 appointments, something like that, within 45 days, right? So 105 appointments, 26K in revenue, and 15K cash collected, right? This is what you can do when you have a clear alignment in terms of your offer and your ICP. And you have the exact solution that they're looking for based on their pain points, fears, lack of trust, lack of belief in your service, and you have the right guarantee to eliminate all of the risk immediately. Bill, he booked in 36 qualified appointments within, I think it was like 35 days. So you can book in appointments as soon as you have a dialed-in offer that aligns with your ICP. And then finally, Bo, right? He has a marketing agency, and within 28 days, right? He dialed in his offer, and he collected over $70K in revenue on behalf of his client. And that's within the first 28 days of us just working together. We dialed in his offer, we dialed in the messaging, we dialed in how are they communicating on these calls, on these texts with their ideal prospects on behalf of their client to close them. And when we optimize for those processes, these are the results that they see. So this stuff works, and this is proof that this works, because they, like, these clients and these partners of mine wouldn't have gotten these results if they didn't focus in on a good offer that clearly aligns with an ICP. So I hope you found this valuable. Take a look at the next training below. Okay, so how do we set up a consistent stream of leads and appointments for our business every single month? Now, I'm going to share the specific acquisition systems, infrastructures, and training that you can literally copy and paste into your business, okay? And it doesn't matter what type of business you run, because this works for any, okay? Now, before we talk about setting up acquisition systems and channels and maintaining these systems, the infrastructures and everything, we have to talk about setting frameworks, because that's the step one. If you don't know how to book appointments, if you don't know how to interact with your leads, then what's the point of even trying to set up systems to acquire them, right? You have to learn how to book appointments, how to qualify them, how to triage leads, how to do prospecting, and how to have the conversations so that they convert. Because if we're not getting conversions, if we don't know how to do so, then what's the point of setting this all up, right? So I will be linking separate SOPs that you can go through and train yourself on so that you know how to book appointments, you know how to close deals to make sure that we can convert once these systems are set up, okay? Now, once you've done that, it's about setting up the acquisition channels. Now, for this group on the left right here, this is a group of low-cost acquisition platforms. So school, Instagram, LinkedIn, cold calls, or SMS, emails, and then networking events. Out of these, I'd recommend starting off with Instagram, LinkedIn, or email. Doesn't matter if you're a beginner, doesn't matter if you're already at scale. These platforms can literally add steady streams of acquisition that will get you high-paying clients. I myself have closed over 20K in deals just from these platforms alone, right? And the reason why that's impressive, 20K isn't crazy, but it's about the profit margins. The profit margin on that was insane. It's like 99% all profit because I didn't pay anything to acquire those clients, right? So with Instagram, LinkedIn, and email, those are the platforms that I'd recommend starting out with because they're the lowest effort platforms that will get you the results within a good period of time if you start out with those platforms. Unlike school, cold calls, and networking events, they just require more effort, more time on your end to make sure that you can get the same result. Whereas with LinkedIn, Instagram, and email, you set it up once, you set up the systems and the automated procedures that you need, and from there, it will work on its own. So with Instagram, you can automate the initial outreach messages to your ICP and those profiles that you put in. With LinkedIn, you can automate connection requests. With email, you just set up the copy, you set up a few email automations, you have a database of ICPs, and then you just launch it. And then it works on its own, and then you just wait for the data to come in, and then you optimize it based on that. That's it, right? And at the same time, like, you don't really put in much money into it. And the max that you'll put in across all of these different platforms at most is around $200 a month, or even maybe $150, which is not that much, right? Now, with email, the reason why I'd recommend starting out with that in the beginning is because you can just go to a company, even if you're just starting out, and you can purchase a database of around 10 to 20,000 ICP prospects that are hyper targeted, the perfect fit for your business, and you can do an entire email blast to that list. And I mean, the average list should cost around anywhere from $200 to $500, right? And you shouldn't really be going anything over 500 in terms of a database of around 20,000, because that's what you can get. And off of 20,000, you can get anywhere from 20 to 40 appointments, which is really solid, right? That's a consistent stream of appointments and acquisition. And you can just do that on a consistent basis every single month, right? Do an email blast, start a newsletter, whatever it is, right? With LinkedIn, you want to automate the connection request. And with LinkedIn and email, they work very interestingly because the profiles that you have on those platforms, they are almost like top of funnel landing pages that people see because they see your profile, your offer, who you are, what you do, your content. It could even pre-sell them. They could see your offer, like everything about it. It kind of is like a top of funnel, which it is, right? So it's important that you want to leverage specifically Instagram and LinkedIn because those can get you amazing results. And people can literally be pre-sold onto your stuff and your content and your services by just looking at some of the posts and content that you make, as long as they're valuable, right? And that's a whole separate training, which we'll do actually maybe I think it's in the section below. So look out for that. Now, once you've basically set up the systems to automate this, which you can do through, so with LinkedIn, I'd recommend using the software Newson.io, or you can just search up another, I think Dripify works. Instagram, you can do ManyChat, or you can use HighLevel. With email, again, you can use HighLevel or Instantly to do this exact same thing. So search those softwares up. They don't cost much, and figure out how to attain the database and how to scrape the profiles on LinkedIn and Instagram from there. And just a reminder, on LinkedIn, I'd recommend dialing in on that one because you can get a bunch of automated connection requests every single day. And after you automate the connection requests, and same thing for Instagram, after you send that initial outreach message, I would recommend keeping everything manual from there. Now, the reason why is because everyone does this so much nowadays. So many coaches, so many agencies are getting spam messages of people just sending salesy, robotic, automated messages that they can see it's bullshit immediately. So you want to make sure that you send like a handcrafted, semi-personalized, automated message in the beginning, and then from there manually book them in, because that's what's going to get you the best bang for your buck, and that's what's going to increase the probability of them actually booking in, because you're providing value and it's actually a human one-to-one, person-to-person conversation. Right now, that's what I'd recommend. And with LinkedIn, you can literally scrape the ideal profile if you get the premium version of LinkedIn, which allows you to access Sales Navigator. That's a whole separate lesson in itself, but I will potentially make a video on that somewhere in this training or on my YouTube, which I'll plug in this training anyways. But next acquisition channel is ads. Now, with ads, you want to make sure that you do it right, because I'm not sure if you guys know this, but the very first time I had run ads within, my business career or starting my own business, the very first time I ran them, I didn't know how to do them. I didn't know how to create the creatives. I didn't know how to script them. I didn't know the copy. I didn't know how to optimize them. And I just outsourced it. And I ended up losing 2.1K, and I didn't get anything. I didn't get anything from it because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Okay. So with ads, the most important thing is sometimes ads on Instagram or Facebook, which are the platforms that I recommend, by the way. Facebook, Instagram ads are the best. First off, you want to make sure that you're targeting the specific audience, and you want to target them correctly. So you want to compile a list of, again, something similar to like a database of your ideal client profile to put into Facebook and Instagram so that it knows the people that you're targeting. 2 is you want to make sure that sometimes maybe the call to action on the ad or in the video that is the ad in itself isn't to book in a call. Sometimes it's just to follow you. Sometimes it's to get access to a lead magnet by sending you a word in the DMs. And then from there, that's a potential lead, right? So that's how you want to do so. And that's how you want to structure these ads, because that's what's going to get you the best bang for your buck. And what I'd recommend, especially if it's on Instagram, is in the ad, the CTA should actually be to follow your page. Because if you have content that's really valuable on your page that you can literally pin at the top of your profile, that's what people will go to first after they see the ad, and that's what's going to pre-sell them and lead them into the DMs over time. And you can, after that point, say that they followed you and then manually DM them yourself, okay? So that's what I'd recommend with ads. Also, ads, they don't require a huge spend. Like, now that I know how to run ads, I'd recommend spending minimum at least 300 to maximum, obviously it depends on your business and what level of scale you're at, but if you're right now not at 20K a month, I'd recommend doing bouts of anywhere from 3 to 1,000, 1,500 bucks, something like that, right? 300 to 1,500, and that will get you some pretty solid results. And then from there, the final channel of acquisition is long-form content, newsletters, posts, documents, a whole separate newsletter community on itself, something that retains attention, and then from there also referrals. But I wouldn't prioritize referrals too much out of this series of acquisition channels. Now, here what you want to make sure is that long-form content in YouTube, this is what's going to be the gold dust, as well as newsletters and documents or posts. Long-form content is amazing because you can get inbound organic traffic just by putting out super valuable YouTube videos, which will automatically pre-sell your prospect on its own. As long as you make the videos related to their pain points or their goals or something that's really relevant to them, right? Or it could be even leveraging your case studies and going around that, right? As long as you have valuable long-form content that someone can learn from and implement things into their business to grow it, you will get inbound traffic, as long as you make the right call to actions and you structure the video correctly, which again will be done in another training. I think it's going to be in the card below, actually. And then from there, newsletters and posts. Posts can be great for generating inbound traffic, because as soon as a client or a potential prospect sees your post, they could send you a keyword, they could comment on it, they could actually manually DM you themselves, talking about the post or just requesting to work with you. I just recommend maintaining consistency around these things. As long as you put out new emails, new content, and new posts every single day around valuable topics that are relevant to your ICP and really align with them, you will get the results from those acquisition systems, channels, infrastructures, whatever. And then referrals, they're great. If you can build a network of people who could be like your referral champions, that's just going to be a plus, right? Because that's going to get you clients that could pay you high ticket PIFs for potentially free cost of acquisition or maybe like a small referral commission. Now, once you've basically established all of these different acquisition channels and sources and systems, right? It's going to generate you a bunch of leads. And the most important thing that you want to do here is you convert them, and you have a very clear process as to how you're going to do that. So I've given you an example here where you have 3 different channels of acquisition: cold or like low cost acquisition, paid acquisition, and then more so like inbound organic content acquisition, right? As long as you have these 3 acquisition channels working, there is no secret, right? By the way, there's no secret. If you do these platforms, if you implement this, it will work. It just takes time to optimize it, and you'll see the results after learning how to leverage these correctly. From there, you're going to get the leads, and then you're going to get lead magnet, VSL, or DMs set up. This is where these leads, they're going to be redirected into different sort of end results, right? So you want to redirect them into a free lead magnet. You want to get a VSL. You want to get DMs. And actually, you can build a lead magnet just like the one that you're on right now, okay? It's just about providing so much value. And from there, it's about really nurturing them and qualifying them into a booked call as soon as you see that someone has joined your lead magnet, has opted into your VSL, or has gotten into your DMs, right? It's about qualifying them and booking them into a call. And from there, you're going to get super high quality leads that will get you high ticket PIFs and will be like, they're just going to be super high quality clients after you've qualified them through this process, right? And they're ICPs that like are literally people that opted in because you solve a specific problem, you solve a specific pain point, or you're going to get them to a goal in a shorter and faster amount of time. Or they might just not know how to. But it's all about making the call to action here and using these acquisition systems that are so easy to set up today. Like you can buy a database of emails, you can get LinkedIn content, you can get automated connection requests, you can get automated follows and messages. As long as you implement this, this is what's going to get you the results. I'll see you guys in the next video. Okay, so how do we build trust with our prospects as soon as they've booked in a call, or they're on the sales call, or it's leading up to the sales call? Okay, now I've set up a very clear timeline in between the moment that they've booked a call up until a sales call, and how you can build trust before they book a call, how you can build trust in between the booked call and the sales call, and how you can build trust on the sales call so that they convert. Because trust, like I've mentioned, is the foundation of acquisition. It's what gets people to buy. If they don't trust you or your service or your business, they're not going to be on the call. They're not even going to show up here, and they might not even book in. Okay, so it's important that you build trust with them over time, and there's very specific ways to do so. So in this training, I'm going to cover exactly how to build that trust and what you need to understand, what you need to implement to make that happen. Okay, and this is a replicable process. This can be, again, applied to any business as long as you guys can take the sales call, right? As long as you can literally show up online for that sales call, and you can take a booked call online, which can be done through Calendly or GoHighLevel, that's fine, right? Now, the first thing that we want to understand is that they're booking this call because we're going to solve a pain point for them, or we're going to help them get to a goal faster, or they just might not know how to get to that goal, and we're going to ultimately help them to get to a certain goal, right? That's the premise of why they're booking in this call with you. They're not booking in this call with you because they like you. They're not booking in this call with you because they want to build a personal relationship with you. Remember, they're booking this call simply just because of those two things. Because they see a potential value exchange with your business, nothing else. Okay, so we want to make sure that's reflective in the sales process, and we really address that and align with those things. So the way that we do that, right, and we have to understand this, is if someone is coming in with pain or they're looking to get to a goal, right, because there's two types of buyers. You have to understand this. There's people who are looking to solve something that's been bugging them for so long, someone that's pain driven, and then someone that's goal driven, someone that doesn't really focus on the pain but is looking towards the future, someone that is looking at what is going to happen, what do I want to be at, what do I want to achieve, and that's why they see the value in your service, okay, or what you do, right? It doesn't have to be service based. Now, once we've understood that people are booking in because of a pain or a goal, the next thing that we want to make sure is that we have a value-driven sales process, and we're very transparent about the price. Now, the first thing that you're going to do, and this even goes outside of value and price transparency, is you want to make sure that they go to some sort of explainer video before your sales call. In this video, and by the way, the first thing that they should be sent, or the first thing that they need to interact with as soon as they've booked a call, is a video, because that's it's the best thing outside of just an SMS and an email, because that will increase the chances of them being pre-sold. That will just be it's just so much better than just a SMS and email reminder process. That's not pre-selling them. It's not going to build more trust. With clear content and content assets that you can leverage in the sales process, it can pre-sell them. It can do all of the selling for you so that your sales call turns into 15, 25 minute, maybe even 30 minute maximum closes, pay in fulls, right? And this can really just share all of the information with them even prior to your call. Now, that's the premise of why we have content. And this is the first asset that you want to share, right? Now, before I break down like the value and price transparency, the usual process that you want to make sure that you have, or at least the key features that you want to share within your sales process, is pre-sale content, or like pre-explainer videos. You share testimonials and case studies. You have documents and SOPs, or you have free resources that they can literally already leverage without even paying you, that they wouldn't have access to if they didn't join the sales process. You have other content, you have more testimonials and case studies, and you have, again, more SOPs, actionable steps, frameworks, everything that they can get for free. Now, going into the first piece of content, or like the first asset that you share with them, right? The reason why we've already established that it should be a video, because it's just superior in terms of these, and you can even share the testimonials on case studies in these frameworks in a video, right? But for this one, I'd recommend just breaking down the service, what they should expect, managing expectations, being transparent in terms of the price and the value. Now, again, like I said, you want this entire process to be value driven, and what's going to be valuable for them, again, is going to be, again, these pain points or goals. If you can solve these two things in this process, that's the most important thing, okay? So the way that we do that is, in this first asset, you want to demonstrate value around how you're going to solve their pain point, or how you're going to get them to the goal by describing your services. You're going to be transparent about the price, because one mistake that a lot of businesses make, and this is what a lot of beginners do in terms of agencies, coaches, consultants, right? They hide behind the price, or their price hides behind them, because at the end of the day, they're scared that this prospect is going to be driven away if I share some sort of fact about my investment, which is not true at all, by the way, right? Because they're still going to find out on that sales call anyways, and if they aren't ready to invest, or if they don't have the budget, this entire process was a waste of time. Like, all of this was a waste of time if they didn't have the money to invest into your service anyways, right? So, and that extends into another issue, which is you haven't qualified them properly to book them into a call, right? So this is something you want to make sure of, which, again, you can learn in a separate process, but in the SOPs and the frameworks that I've provided in the card above. Now, with value and price, like I said, it just relates to pain or goal, and then price is just going to be you can share it. You can share the exact pricing that you have, or you can say it's going to be in the range of 4 figures, 5 figures, whatever the investment for your service or software or whatever is, right? So I'd give them at least some sort of insight on that, so that they have an idea of how much they should be prepared to spend with you if they were to join. Now, the next thing is this can be shared in the content asset, or as a separate reminder email, or engaging asset on its own. Testimonials and case studies. This is what's going to build up your expertise and authority. Now, again, expertise and authority is super important, because this frames the call and this builds trust. If you don't have leverageable case studies, if you don't have testimonials, you're not going to build as much trust with your prospects, and that's going to reflect in the sales process, and that's going to reflect in the sales call. So make sure that you share case studies and testimonials. If you don't have them, work for free to get some, and then monetize your services. Everyone has to go through that in the beginning. If you're a beginner in this space and you don't have the case studies, you're just going to have to get it. You're going to have to get it. You just have to go through the process of working for free. And then once you've gotten the case studies and you've gotten some solid results, that's when you can start charging. Now, after the testimonials and the case studies you've shared with them, after the sort of explainer content asset in the beginning, you want to leverage the free resources that are aligned with the pain and the goal that they've come in for. Now, these SOPs and these frameworks and these free documents, or like actionable steps that you share throughout the sales process, should be aligned. Now, this is a whole nother point in itself. You want to make sure that this entire sales process, everything that you share, is aligned with their pain or goal. Because if, for example, they came in because they have a problem with, let's say you're a coaching business and you do fitness coaching and someone wants to lose weight. If at any point in this process, something is unrelated to losing weight, it's going to be like confusing for them. And confusion leads to distrust. And that ultimately, distrust will not get you that conversion. So you want to make sure that everything's aligned, because if you're sharing, let's say like a testimonial about how you helped a business, but it's a weight loss program, right? Like that's not really aligned with the messaging. So that's going to be like, okay, well, he has a great video, it's a great process, but that like he's not getting results for other clients like me, right? And then that's what they want to see, because that's what builds up trust, right? We want relevant case studies, we want relevant content assets that at least describe the sales process and describe some expectations around the service that you're providing in relation to the pain or goal that they're coming in for. The next thing that you want to make sure is to make sure that the entire process is valuable. Like I said, it has to be related to their pain or goal, but also just demonstrating that you know what you're talking about in your videos is more than enough to be valuable, or at least classified as valuable. And the way that you can do that to demonstrate what you like, your expertise and so on, is obviously like leveraging case studies is great, but even talking about like sophisticated topics, giving insightful information, giving insightful suggestion, giving valuable actionable steps in your free resources or your content assets that they can already take for free is going to demonstrate that value, authority, and that's exactly what we need for this sales call. Now, on the sales call, this is a whole separate issue in itself. You have to make sure that you are not a robot on these calls. The one mistake that I made in like when I first started out, I actually started out as a sales rep to begin with, before I even started running my own businesses, right? Oh my gosh. I used Charlie Morgan pitch deck to like literally go off of. It was like my Bible back then, and I followed it to a T. I would, like, during my sales calls, no eye contact. I'm literally just reading off a script, and people can tell. Like, if you look at my sales calls, even you as a stranger watching that video or that sales call and recording, you'll know that I'm reading off something, and I'm not like, it's completely robotic. I'm not having a conversation with the prospect, and that is going to decrease the chances of you converting. So the way that I'd recommend going about your sales call, don't actually try to sell. And that's one thing that a lot of people get wrong. Don't sell. Just tell them what you do, tell them how you do it, set expectations around results, and see if it's a fit. Obviously, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't handle objections. I'm talking about selling. I'm talking about being salesy. Handling objections is a separate thing, because that's a prospect-related problem. They don't, there's some uncertainty, they have their own insecurities, or they're not ready to invest, whatever it is, which is solvable, and you can solve that on the sales call. But the way that you can even eliminate objections is, again, through these content assets, and you want to remain that type of pattern. So content asset, testimonial, SOP, or like document something for free, content asset, testimonial, like post, doc asset, whatever it is, right? That can eliminate a lot of the objections for you. Like in your content asset, you could literally go down, you could literally tell them, guys, like for example, just to set some expectations, these are the typical objections that we get when you get to the sales call with us, right? I'm about to solve all of these objections and problems for you. And even on the sales call, like you can do objection pre-framing to completely eliminate, I need to think about it, or I need to speak with my partner. That can all be solved even before you speak on the sales call or on the call itself, just through some pre-framing. Otherwise, this entire process, right, this is what's going to build trust with your prospects, because you want to make sure that everything's aligned, you understand what they've come in for, and in the process, you've addressed everything that they've come in for. You've addressed your service. You've addressed the deliverables. You've addressed the value. You've provided transparency around the price, right? And you've demonstrated your authority, because everything remains relevant to them. As long as they see someone that's similar to them in a similar spot, they had a similar pain or a similar goal in mind, and you ended up solving that, dude, that's like, you should be at 10K a month with just one case study that's relevant to a potential ICP similar to it, okay? So this is how you build trust with your prospects. Follow all of this. And this, by the way, can all be automated. This can be automated through HighLevel. I'd recommend that. You can literally, if you learn how to use HighLevel, if you know how to set up automations and processes, this is what I'd recommend, right? But make sure that alongside all of this, at the end of the day, you also make sure that you have like SMS and email reminders in place, not just to share these assets, but to make sure that you remain top of mind. And providing any of these assets in your SMS or emails is what's going to keep you top of mind, because there's something new to engage with every single day up until the sales call actually happens. So make sure to follow all of this, because this is what's going to build the most amount of trust with your prospects, and that's what's going to help you pre-sell them, get them onto the sales call, ensure that they show up at least 50 to 70% of the time, and then they close. So I'll see you guys in the next training. Okay, so how do you become the leader within your business that you deserve to be? Because right now, I can imagine that you feel a lot like this. You're within your business and you're being pulled in all of these different directions: sales, training staff, marketing, finances, fulfillment, legal, product design, right? And the unfortunate reality is that we all have to go through it. We all have to wear every single hat within our business for a certain period of time until we figure out how to delegate them and scale, okay? And how do we go from this to this, where you can choose what you want to work on, whether it's sales, product design, fulfillment, or anything else within your business, to have the most amount of leverage? And this is when you have a structure like this is when you will scale. This is when there is no limit, right? But with this, at least in the period that you're in right now, where you might be feeling like this as an agency owner or a coach, right? This focusing on all of this is taking up so much of your time that it doesn't allow you to focus on what matters. Now, there's really 3 ways that you can solve this, right? And you can get to this side right here, right? Number 1 is automating 90% of your business with HighLevel and Zapier. Now, GoHighLevel is going to automate all of the mainstream and streamline all of those most important processes, and then any other third-party software integrations or anything else that you use for your business that's third-party out of HighLevel, it can be solved with Zapier or Make.com. You can search that up afterwards, right? So you can automate it through HighLevel or Zapier. Another thing that you can do is obviously hire growth specialists, hire employees, hire VAs, right? And you can use 3 different platforms. One is called Upwork. You can search up another platform called Closify, and the third one is onlinejobs.ph. And there are plenty more. There's ZipRecruiter, right? There's so many softwares out there where you can find good hires, right? Indeed, you can even go to networking events, right, to hire people that will move the needle within your business, right? And finding a good hire, finding good recruits is a whole separate video in itself. But this is what's going to allow you to have the leverage that you've been looking for in order to scale, right? And the third and final thing is, as soon as you have HighLevel and Zapier in place to automate 90% of your business, you want to make sure that you have a reporting and tracking system that can track all of these different sectors in the business. All of this can be tracked. You can get the metrics, you can get the most important data so that you can make data-driven and logical decisions. And this is even useful at this stage, because now you don't have to guess as to what's going to work for sales. You don't have to guess what's going to work for marketing. You don't have to guess how many appointments you've gotten this month. You don't have to guess how many closes you've had, right? You don't have to guess what kind of client results you've been delivering, right? You can track all of it. So I would implore you, I'm begging you, get HighLevel, get Zapier. You don't even have to have a growth specialist yet. Get HighLevel and Zapier and create a tracking system with it, or Make, right? Use a combination of those softwares in order to automate as much of your business as possible so that you can start scaling by making logical and data-driven decisions while also saving back 90% of your time and using that time to focus on moving the needle, and doing what works, which will in the end allow you indirectly to make hires for growth specialists and so on. So this is what it's going to take to scale your business. And guess what? Everything that I've covered so far, the sales process, building trust with your prospects, the acquisition systems, the setting frameworks, all of this can be automated. All of this can be automated through understanding how to leverage Zapier, GoHighLevel, Make.com, hiring softwares, hiring platforms, networking events, your connections, everything, right? Obviously, there's always going to be manual tasks that you as the business owner and founder will have to focus on, right? But like at that point, your business will be 90% automated, if not a little bit more than 90%, which will, like I said, allow you to scale to new heights that you never even thought you would be able to. So, like I said, learn these softwares. If you can integrate them, that would be amazing. You're going to get the best return. You're going to see the returns that it's going to provide you in terms of your time and indirectly in terms of cash. So I hope you guys found this training valuable. If you have any other questions, please do let me know. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing you. Thanks so much.